IGT, baby.
What's cracking, y'all? It's your boy Junior Mafia coming back to you with another video. So we got to talk about what happened on Monday Night Raw. And man, it was sensational. Sensational. So I'm not going to waste any time and we'll get right into it. So we had Triple H to kick off the show. And they was in Boston, you know, at the TD Garden. And, you know, they gave a little history of John Cena, you know, where he grew up at West Newbury, you know, a couple of miles away from Boston and stuff like that, where he went to school, all this other stuff. And, you know, Triple H, you know, pretty much giving Cena his flowers before he introduced him out into the ring. So as it's happening, Cena gets out there, that crowd's at an uproar. Like, it was loud as hell. So he gets in there and he embracing the crowd and stuff like that, and was saying, like, you know, no matter where he traveled at, you know, for his final, you know, run, you know, with WWE, he always wanted to come to Boston one final time, and pretty much was circling this on his calendar leading up to, you know, the end of his farewell tour, and brings up about how much that this last time is now tournament means a lot to him, and was saying that this kind of opened doors for up and coming superstars, you know, to take that next step and be like that main event attraction, you know, with the business. You know, so he said that's the reason why he went with this tournament as well. You know, to give people an opportunity. If you could be able to retire me and all that, then this is putting you in a good position to succeed with the company. So I think that was pretty damn good for him to say and stuff like that. And as he was talking, in comes Dominic Mysterio. So crowd is booing the shit out of him, as I expected. So he gets in the ring, everything he tried to say, crowd was booing him. So he couldn't like really talk that much. But what he was saying that, you know, telling Cena like, well, I'm pretty much the GOAT and all that stuff, and, you know, pretty much trying to downplay him. So Cena had to tell him straight up that you need to tread lightly, you know, choose your words carefully, because if it's a fight that you're looking for here, you will lose. And said, out of the strength of your father, I will advise you to turn around, walk your ass back into that curtain. So, in typical Dominic fashion, trying to stay 10 toes down, you're going to say that in any era that he could beat Cena ass, you know, anytime, any place, you know, whatever the case is. And Triple H looked at that and said, you know what? I might take you up on your offer, Dom, saying that you could beat Cena anytime, any ways, any place, and whatever the case is. He said, how about we do that right here and now, and the IC titles on the line. So we end up getting an impromptu IC championship match. So they got a ref in there, match goes on and stuff like that. And, you know, in typical Dom fashion, he will try to get away, you know, scot-free and all that stuff. But Cena wasn't having it. And, you know, he would try to pull off the whole Eddie tactic of grabbing a chair, going to the ring, and, you know, tossing to Cena, like, you know, slams the chair onto the mat, and then tosses to Cena and falls down. So Cena look at it, and this is when the ref has his back turned, because Don was unloosening the ring buckle. So he takes it off. He took it off, and he did that to buy time for the ref to pay attention to that while he went to go do his little, you know, cheating tactics as usual. So Cena ends up going on with the flow, drops down as well, put the chair right there, and refs going there looking confused as shit, which was funny. And you have both Cena and Dom, you know, pretty much looking at each other to see like who's gonna like react first. So you see the ref going towards Dom and all that. Cena gives a little wink and all this stuff. And Dom was pissed. So as he put his attention on the ref and all this other stuff, that was when he would try to take advantage of him. So he puts Dom in the AA, but he got to the ropes. And when he released it, his foot ended up kicking the ref. So the ref was out of the equation, so to speak. And John Cena put him in the STF. So he's tapping, but the ref is incapacitated. So they had so as that happened, and you see Dom, after he got the advantage over Cena, goes get the title and tries to hit Cena with it until Cena got, he ducked it and hit an AA on him. And as he's trying to pin him, another ref comes in there and did the 1, the 2, kicks out. So now at this point right now, I'm like, I'm like, Dom gonna try to pull another tactic again to try to get out of this, but no, that was never the case. When Dom did try to take advantage, Cena was able to capitalize. After he hit the 619 on him, and he went on for the frog splash, Cena was able to pretty much roll over, picks him up, puts him right on his shoulder, and hits him with an AA and covers him for the 1, for the 2, for the 3, and we have a new Intercontinental Champion, John Cena, who now completes his titles of being a Grand Slam champion. He held every title, in the company except for the IC title, and he finally accomplished it. So that was a heartfelt moment. That crowd went ballistic and all that, and I know this felt good for Cena as well to finally close the chapter and say, I really capture every title right now in this business. That was fantastic. He went on to the top rope and was thanking the crowd, saying that y'all the reason why I'm able to capture the IC champion, and while I'm the Grand Slam champion, the pyro goes off and all that stuff. So it was a heartfelt moment. And now this changes everything, because it went from being, a match to determine who faced Cena one last time to now an Intercontinental Championship match. So this raised the stakes. This was fantastic. I enjoyed this so much. And congratulations to John Cena on finally capturing the Intercontinental Champion. So that was fantastic. What a way to kickstart Monday Night Raw, without a shadow of a doubt. It's what made the show a 10 out of 10, just based off that alone. So as it's happening, we end up getting some first round matches, to determine who advances, in the first round or on to the second round. So we had Damian Priest taking on Rusev, which was a heavy fighting, what's a heavy fight? A heavy hitting match. Both men got some offense going back and forth. See, for me, I thought that Damian Priest would win if Aleister Black didn't interfere, because I felt like, seeing the interaction between the two there, that Aleister Black would try to, come there to cause a distraction that will get the upper hand for Rusev to win. But that was never the case. Rusev actually ended up beating Damian Priest clean, but he did that, but kind of gouging out Damian Priest's eye and used that to his advantage. And because of that, he's able to, dominate that part of the match, and he ended up coming the way as the winner. And now he advances on to the next round. So we had that. Then we had a match with Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Sheamus. And in my opinion, very good match too. Both men had some good offense and stuff. But Sheamus ended up coming away, as the winner, which was the right call, because this makes things interesting. So there was that. We also had got confirmation from Adam Pearce. And next week, when they're in MSG, as they continue on with the tournament, we have Javon Evans taking on the returning Gunther, which I'm going to get into in a minute. Then you have Solo taking on a mystery opponent. We don't know who it is. And just like Nick Aldis, last week when he didn't reveal who was gonna be I forgot one of these other superstars who he's gonna face. It's escaped me, but he said he'll find out come Friday. You kind of get the same thing, with this here. So it kind of have you second guessing who can it be. But you kind of box yourself in a situation right here because in this case for Solo, it's like you build him too much, build them up to the point where, you know, if he lose, that might kill his aura, whatever he got right now when he came to revive himself, especially with the MFT and stuff. Like, whoever this mystery opponent is, if they come back and they beat Solo, you pretty much kill them. And then you don't want a situation where Solo beats that mystery opponent and then any momentum they had is completely shut down. So you kind of box yourself in this corner right there, with this type of booking, for Solo in this case. So we'll see how that turns out, but I can honestly say it's not a good look. If Solo loses, pack him up. Pack him the fuck up. Without a doubt. And then in this case with Javon Evans and Gunther, let's keep it real. We expecting Gunther to win. But I would love to see some offense from Javon Evans. I don't want this to be a squash match and he completely get decimated. Because Javon Evans is too good of a talent to pretty much get destroyed like that. And it would surprise me if he mess around and he do beat Gunther in the first round. And outside, like, it's pretty much, anybody might look at that as like a downplay for Gunther. You can build something off that because he could be extremely pissed off and be on straight crash out mode and stuff. But we'll see how things turns out and whatnot. So there's that. We also have to talk about CM Punk. So he comes in there after what happened last week when Logan Paul hits him with the brass knuckles and stuff, and pretty much went to Paul Heyman and put the brass knuckles in his hand. So, Punk was already pissed off with that. So he wasted no time. He said, listen, I ain't come out here to talk and all that. We're in Boston. I'm not in my ring gear. I'm ready to fight. We're going to brawl. So he's telling Logan Paul, bring your ass out here and let's settle this. So Logan Paul comes out there and he pretty much saying like, you need to calm down and all that. He said, I'm not here to calm down. I'm here to pick a fight with you. So let's not waste any time and let's go. So Logan Paul was talking about, last week and how, you think getting hit in the face was crazy enough. But after taking tsunamis and all that too, and pretty much getting destroyed and all, it opened my eyes. And he says, I seen a new vision. And at that moment there is when you knew he aligned himself with Paul Heyman and Braun Strowman and Braun Breaker. So Paul Heyman comes out there with the Brawns and they walking down the ring and he pretty much telling CM Punk like, your friends never portrayed you. You portrayed your friends, and pretty much saying that's the reason why I left and all this other stuff. And calling him a soulless bastard, and it even brings up that nobody also has been much of a headache than AJ Lee. And as that happened, that was gonna trigger Punk, and Punk was ready to throw down. He's saying that, if she was here, like she will make y'all, spill blood and piss and stuff like that. But since she ain't here, I would do that. And was saying that y'all want to, take me on, let's go. So as it's happening, and you see he getting cornered now, you see Jey Uso comes into the ring to be at his defense. And right when they about to get up into the apron and go on attack mode, Cody Rhodes ended up coming in there too. I do want to point this out too. I'm a little all over the place. But after Cena won the IC title, he went backstage and everybody celebrated with him. And he ended up kind of Rey Mysterio, who was, excited like, I'm glad you was able to kick Dom's ass and stuff like that, and very appreciative and all this other stuff. And then he also had encounters with Cody Rhodes, which we didn't know what was his reason for being at Monday Night Raw. But we end up finding out now, coming out there and he's having out Punk and Jay. So as it's happening, they get the brawling and stuff like that. So when we cut to later on in the show, backstage, you see CM Punk talking down a pit. Someone like, I had enough. Like this is not going to end, anytime soon. And I feel like the best thing to do that, is one match. And he calls for William Regal. Regal gets here, which is out of nowhere. Like as soon as Punk called his name, he just appears out of nowhere. And it's been confirmed that we're having a War Games match. So far we already confirmed that it's CM Punk, Jey Uso, and Cody Rhodes. And then the four, of course, is going to be the Braun Bronze, Logan Paul, and we'll see somebody else that they have in the mix as well. So, that was very interesting to see, and it made the most sense. Now, I do feel like, in a situation where it should have been the Wyatt Six taking on the MFTs, I feel like they made a lot of, like, valid points for them to have a War Games match, especially the build up those last couple of weeks. But in this case, that didn't happen. So I want to see how that whole thing turns out. But it's looking like it's gonna be, the Vision taking on Punk, Jay, Cody, and whatever fourth opponent they may have. So that's pretty much got confirmed. And then later on in the match, later on in the show, we had the main event of the Kabuki Warriors taking on Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. And seeing when the match happened, knowing that was the main event, you knew something was bound to happen. Because anytime you put a title match there, chances are it's either going to change his hands or something may happen. So as the match goes on, they had a very, very solid match, so to speak. And once Charlotte and Alexa Bliss had the upper hand when she hits the Sister Abigail to Kairi Sane, and Charlotte had the figure eight on the Oscar, out of nowhere you see Lash Legend and Nia Jax just go on and pretty much disturb Charlotte Flair. So as that happened, and that drew the attention for Alexa Bliss, it caused her to pretty much get attacked outside of the ring, and that left Charlotte vulnerable, with Asuka and Kairi Sane, which they took advantage of, and Kairi Sane ended up going to the top rope and hitting an insane elbow on the Charlotte, and they call her for the 1, for the 2, for the 3, and now we have new women tag team champions in the Kabuki Warriors, which I'm not mad about, and was pretty good. But their celebration got cut short because right after they were celebrating and stuff like that, Alexa trying to go after them and all, Nia and Lash looked to take advantage of that, and they was pretty much trying to pack her up. You see Charlotte trying to fight back, but that didn't work. And, Kairi Sane and Asuka looked at this like it's an opportunity for me to go and attack them. So they go in there, go and attack, and here comes Io Sky. So she comes in there, she tried to even the odds, but, the numbers game was going to play a focal point in this, and they started to pack her up. So as it's happening, we get a return from Rhea Ripley, who got the mask on and stuff like that. And we know when Rhea had the mask on, that's somebody you do not want to mess with, without a doubt. So she comes out there, and now it's even out now, and they pretty much trying to clear house and all the stuff. So all of this, you could tell was leading up to them having a War Games match. And if I'm being honest with y'all, I don't think we needed this at all. This is kind of similar to what happened last year, where they just kind of put together the women's War Game match with no type of like serious build behind it for us to really care. I just felt like they just look at this and just throw names in there and boom, we got a War Games match. That's what it felt. That's what it felt like. At least with the whole Vision and Punk, Jay, and Cody in that situation, it makes sense, but this women's war games right here don't make a lick of sense to me whatsoever, and we could have did without it. That's how I personally feel. Some of y'all might probably feel a different way, and that's cool. You know, we agree to disagree and stuff, but you know, I felt like we could have went another direction than that. You know, so that's why I'm on it. Like, if you want to see with a kid, yeah, you gotta make this interesting. You gotta, I mean, like a week or 2 weeks before Survivor Series and all that stuff. So make us give a shit and want us to tune in, because as of right now, it's looking like a middle of the road, so to speak. So we'll see how that turn out. But overall, this was a very good show. Of course, like I said earlier, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10 because of John Cena and him officially being our Grand Slam champion, without a shadow of a doubt. That equals everything that happened on the show, if I'm being real. So comment down below. Let me know what was your favorite part of Monday Night Raw, and what's your thoughts on John Cena now becoming a Grand Slam champion and stuff. So I definitely want to hear that. I appreciate your love and support. Continue to keep God first. Trust the process of anything that you do in life. Your time will come, and I'm going to catch you on the next video. Peace.